Well, we just looked at the various sources for the data flow task in the last video. Let's now do the destinations here. So just looking in the data flow task, here we go. There are more destinations that are listed than there were data sources. So let's take a look through them. Yours may look a little bit different. Now, I didn't mention this in the last video, but your sources tab might be different. Your data flow destinations might be different. You can customize those tabs, and if you'll remember, in that last video I said that you could purchase or download additional sources, and when you do, they will show up here as destinations and sources, or they might. It just depends on how the developers decided to implement it, whether they chose to make it an OLADB provider, in which case you would have chosen just the OLADB source or destination, or whether they added an actual new source or destination to the tab group here. So this is what you see. Again, don't get so hung up if yours is not 100% the same. It should be somewhat similar. So let's just walk down each one of them here. The ADO.NET destination, or if you remember like we saw in the last video, it's really the ADO.NET destination. This is the opposite of the ADO.NET source source. This just allows you to do inserting and creating tables and things like that using one of the .NET data providers, whether it be OLADB, ODBC. It's your choice. The data mining model training destination. This is going to be for those of you that are working with SSIS. I'm going to use that a couple of times. SQL Server Analysis Services. Probably not a new acronym to you, just to make sure everybody is up to speed with it. So if you're dealing with data mining models, then you would obviously be working with the data mining model training destination. The data reader destination is very cool. The data reader, it allows you to expose a data set when you call SSIS. Now this was something that it's kind of interesting. Think about it. I listed on here reporting services. So have reporting services read the output. So imagine that you have an SSIS package that hooks up to a data source, does a little bit of manipulation, maybe creates some files, and finally loads it up. And it could use this data reader destination to store the final output of the SSIS package. So instead of loading the data into a SQL Server table and having reporting services read from that table, we could actually have reporting services, when the report kicks off, fire an SSIS package. So cause the SSIS package to execute, and then the SSIS package would return a data set. And if you know anything about reporting services, that's all you need. You just need to have an OLADB interface. I need to be able to get a data set, and from that I can write my reports. So it's a way to actually use SSIS as a data source in other situations, in other applications. It's actually not that common to need to do that. So before you go crazy and start designing all these, rewriting everything in your office to do that, there are going to be specific situations for that. But it's pretty neat that you can consume the output of an SSIS package. Dimension processing destination that you see right here. This is another analysis services piece. This is when you load and process particular dimensions in your SSIS database, your cubes. A couple of others here. There are really 3 pages of these because I just couldn't fit them all on one and still have it be readable. The Excel destination, right? You can write to tables, you can write to named ranges, you can write to the worksheet itself. Flat file, nothing fancy there, you're just writing to a file. The OLADB destination, okay, this is going to get confusing. Let's see. You're given 2 choices so far. You could have used an ADO.NET destination, or you could use the OLADB destination, right? And we kind of covered this in the sources video, that the ADO.NET can do everything that the OLADB can, right? But it's just a little bit layer on top of it. So if I am given the choice between writing to ADO.NET destination or OLADB destination, I want to choose the OLADB destination. Just go straight to using the OLADB provider. Now, most of the usage of the OLADB destination for your average general user is going to be the popular products. Access. This is what you would use to have a destination to Microsoft Access, Oracle, Informix, anything that you've got an OLADB provider. Notice, and this is where the confusing part comes in, I didn't say SQL Server. We're going to have to hold on. Partition processing destination here, the fourth one, another SSIS piece, loading a partition, and a raw file. Okay, so raw files, I'm going to show you how to work with raw files and raw file destinations and sources in, just looking at my list, maybe 3 or 4 videos from now. Not a whole lot to it. The idea of a raw file destination is SSIS just purely does an in-memory dump into the file. It doesn't format it. It doesn't put commas in between everything. It uses whatever the native code is that SSIS uses and puts it in there. So it's not really something you would open up and edit on your own. It's not human readable, as we would say. But it is readable by integration services. And so one of the most common things to do is to kind of think of this, as the temp DB, if you will, of SSIS when you are chaining packages together. So if I want to pass data from one package to another in the fastest way possible, I could have one package configured to create a raw file destination, and the next package would then consume it by making it a raw file source. And then when I was done, I would delete my raw file. And so passing data between packages, it's a great way to use the raw file. It's super fast because it doesn't have to format everything. Again, I'll show you that here in just a little bit. The old record set destination, if you're dealing with ADO, if you've got VB5, VB6 that you're working with and ASP code, not ASP.NET, but ASP code. The SQL Server Compact Edition destination, for those of you that are dealing with the Windows phones that have SQL Server Compact on them. But then here we go. This is the big guy, right? There's our SQL Server destination. Okay? This is going to use the native client. Okay? So you'll see it as SQL CLINI, something like that. I can't remember what you'll see. We'll see it here in a couple of videos. But it's the SQL Server native client. So now you're given a choice. How do I want to connect to SQL Server? Do I want to use an ADO.NET destination, an OLADB destination, or a SQL Server destination? You want to use a SQL Server destination. This is ultra fast. It's optimized for bulk inserts, so it's probably going to be just as fast as the bulk insert task. The obvious advantage would be that I can do my transformations, I can fire events, I can do a lot more things in the data flow task that I can do in just a plain old boring bulk insert task. So this is what you want to use for your SQL Server. For Access or Oracle, you're going to use the OLADB, but you're going to use the SQL Server for SQL Server, hence the name. Okay. There is also the script component as a destination. You see that as well. That we will cover in Chapter 7. And these are, just like with the sources, these aren't the only destinations. You can buy or download other ones as well. And I wrote a little note in here that most of the time that you purchase a provider, it includes both source and destination. So I tell you what, let's take a look now at the various transformations. I'll see you in the next video.